Hey, it's Rebecca Smith from the KBIA newsroom in Columbia, and it's time for Missouri Health Talks, a project where we listen in on Missourians' conversations about access to health care. And this week, a collaboration with our bicentennial oral history series, Missouri on Mike. This week, we hear from Susan Good. She's a retired nurse who spent most of her career and the beginning of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic working in Tacoma, Washington. She spoke with KBIA's Missouri on Mike team at the Columbia Bicentennial event back on July 4th about what nursing during the pandemic in Washington State was like and a little bit about why she's chosen to now retire to Missouri. Here's Susan.
I actually could have retired sooner than January of 21, but when the pandemic hit, I was working, and the pandemic was something I have never experienced before, and I pray that no one in this country or anywhere in the world ever experiences it again. We were without PPE. I chose to stay and continue to work because I had a feeling that I owed it to my profession to do so. It was very frightening, not, for myself, but for every nurse that I worked with. And somehow we got through what has to be one of the greatest ordeals I've lived through in my life. In the type of nursing I was doing at the time, I was responsible to I became the patient's family. They did not have contact with family members. And so very rapidly, you or I, myself, my coworkers begin to realize we're filling a void here that is imperative to the mental health of the people we care for. And that had to be one of the hardest things. To see patients not able to see their family members was something I've never experienced. And that was very, very rewarding to do such a thing, but at the same time, extremely, extremely difficult. And it took its toll on nurses, but because nurses are very much team-oriented, we could rely on each other to express what we were feeling and how things were going, how we were handling the situations we were handling, on top of being scared to go to work because we did not have proper PPE. At one point, I was in the hallway in a dollar store poncho that we were being forced to use because we no longer had gowns. And so our supervisors went out to the dollar store and bought ponchos. Well, a dollar store poncho is not the same as the proper PPE, and it was frightening, but we did it. It's just no coincidence to me in my life that having gone through the pandemic and then very shortly afterwards, I moved to Missouri where the pace is slower, the people are friendly. It sort of was like this, it was meant to be kind of situation because I went from learning to be in a slower pace, more appreciative, with gratitude, and speaking to people with an interest in who they were and what they were doing, to suddenly end up in Missouri where I find that's what the people are like here.
You just heard from Susan Good, a longtime nurse who worked the beginning of the pandemic in Tacoma, Washington, but is now retired to Columbia. This conversation was recorded back in July by KBIA's Missouri on Mike team. That's it for this week's Missouri Health Talks, which was produced by Emma Boyle. Tune in next week for more conversations from throughout the state about health and access. I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks for listening.